Welcome to the Faith Together podcast from the Center for Faith and Family at Olivet Nazarene University. If you believe that passing down Christian faith is essential for the next generation, you are in the right place. Enjoy conversations with guests who are faith practitioners, parents, caregivers, pastors, counselors, and many more. You'll enjoy practical tools and community for passing down Christian faith to your children and grandchildren.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Faith Together podcast. We are so thrilled to be celebrating Advent with each and every one of you. Merry Christmas to all of you. And we are in our last episode of our Advent series. I'm Lindsey, and I'm joined today with Leon, my co-host. Hi, Leon.
Hi, Lindsey. Merry Christmas.
Merry
or should
Christmas.
I say Shalom?
Shalom.
Yeah.
I think we should say that.
Today, aren't we?
Yes, we are. More to come on that.
Yeah,
More to come on that. Well, Leon, you know that I love celebrating Advent. I also love all the Christmas cheer. And so we have to continue in our tradition of talking through our festive four.
Festive four. This has become, I guess, 2 years makes a tradition.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of our episodes on Advent, and each of them we've done a festive four, and we did it last year as well. So this is kind of fun.
Yeah, just a fun way to talk about the different things that make Christmas Christmas for us. And the first thought I had for today, Leon, is what is our favorite Christmas movie characters?
So this is a weird thing for me, Lindsey, because I love telling stories. I love the power of stories.
Yes.
But if you were to ask my wife, she would tell you I'm not a big movie watcher, which is kind of a weird thing. Those two opposites don't go together very well.
Yeah.
Usually people who enjoy stories enjoy movies, but it's got to really catch my attention.
Okay.
So I had to think a little while on this one. And the first one was pretty obvious for me, and that would be Charlie Brown.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, of course, typically it's the trust me, and then she pulls the football out from in front of him, right, and he falls. But I think particularly of the Christmas episode, and I love the encounter when he finally comes to the point of trying all the stuff to make Christmas Christmas, and he finally asks the question, isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
Yes.
And
I can hear it in my head.
Yes, I can too. And then that starts is it Linus that tells the story?
It is Linus, yes.
Yeah, that tells the Christmas story. And it just, such a great, powerful moment in that cartoon.
Yeah, that is so special. I love that. Well, I was thinking about this as well, Leon, because there's so many Christmas movies that I enjoy, but I thought about the specific characters, which ones really were special to me or spoke a certain message of Christmas that really aligned with my heart. And the one that came to my mind was Tiny Tim in The Muppet Christmas Carol. So I love A Christmas Carol. I think that it is a beautiful story, but I especially love the Muppets version because I think it takes the dark side of A Christmas Carol and really puts in joy and peace and a new lens to see it through that sometimes A Christmas Carol can feel sort of depressing, you know, when all is said and done with Ebenezer Scrooge. So I love Muppet Christmas Carol, and I love Tiny Tim because he has that line that he says, God bless us, everyone.
That's a classic.
It is. It's a classic. You can hear that in your mind as well. But I just love that he takes time to just be with his family. He's very present to the season. Not everything in his life is going perfectly because he has, hardships physically with walking with his cane and all the different things. But he shows us a true picture of joy, true picture of being with the ones that we love and sharing that love together. So Tiny Tim is what comes to my mind.
Okay. Well, my second might be a bit of a surprise.
Okay.
It's The Grinch.
The Grinch.
The Grinch. So, I love the originals. So I think it was like 1966 or 67.
Yeah, somewhere
I think
around
when
there.
Is it Boris Karloff? Is that
I'm not
Is
sure.
Is that the right voice? I don't know if that's correct or not. But anyway, the great deep voice singing. But really the part that draws me in is just the transformation that he goes through when he begins to realize that Christmas is not about all that stuff, and that there can be joy at Christmas when you don't have all the stuff. And so I think that goes along pretty well with some of the things we've been talking about during our Advent series.
Yes.
And so, and this is a really popular thing in my family right now. So my granddaughter, for whatever reason, she goes for the bad characters as her heroes. I mean, not heroes, but things that shows she's 6. All right. So she loves the Grinch. In fact, she had a Grinch birthday party this year.
Oh my goodness.
And they have some Grinch labels, or what are they called? The stick-on things on the windows?
Yes, like the window clings.
That's it, window clings. They have those of the Grinch at the house, and it's just really, really funny. So, so Grinch is kind of up there and popular in our family these days.
Yeah, I love the Grinch too. I would say my second one is the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and George Bailey, the main character, for a lot of the same reasons you just shared. That Christmas isn't about the amount of stuff you have, the money you can possess, as George learned throughout It's a Wonderful Life, but it's about the people in your life that make it what it is. And I love just the focus of family and togetherness and the journey that George was on through that entire movie.
I think George would have been third on my list.
Okay.
So I'm with you on that.
Yes. Just, we all have our own journeys, and I love the depiction of George Bailey and how it gives us all that permission that life isn't always easy, but that, through the journey, God sees us through and puts us right where we need to be.
That's good. I like that a lot.
All right. Well, there we go. Festive 4 has come complete for this season.
That's right. For the season, it's over.
So it is. But our Advent series isn't quite over yet.
No, it's not.
We still have lots more to go with today's episode as we look at Isaiah 9:6. Our verse of this series, Leon, is, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father." And today's name that we're going to focus on is Prince of Peace. So I just want our listeners to know, if you've not been able to hear our Advent series yet, please go back and listen in, because we go through each of those names of Jesus: Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father. And what wonderful episodes they've been. We've had great guests.
Yes, they have been. And, as I've been reflecting on this series, I've been thinking about what strange titles or names that Isaiah chose to give to the coming Messiah.
Yes.
But so loaded, kind of as we have unpacked a little bit of each of these. And it's been an interesting reflection. I mean, I've known this passage much of my Christian life. It's very popular, especially around Christmas time. And yet I've never really thought deeply about the characteristics that are associated with those names.
Yes.
And so we'll continue that today with Prince of Peace.
Yes, Prince of Peace. So going to your first thought at the beginning of our episode today, Leon, Shalom.
Yes.
The Hebrew word for peace.
That's right. It is. So let's talk a little bit about the whole idea of peace. So first of all, it's an interesting term that we use in a variety of ways. So like, we want world peace, right? So we have a context that we talk about of that. Every time I think about world peace, I think of like these pageants.
Oh, yes.
Where they're asked, if you could have one thing in the world, what would it be? And we want world peace.
World peace.
And it's like, okay, yeah. And everybody's like, yeah. They roll their eyes and move on. But world peace is one of those things. Peace in our communities or in our neighborhood is something that we want, right?
Definitely.
We've seen in the news over the last several years about tragedies in local communities, whether it's shootings or robbery or whatever those kind of things are. And so we're wanting peace in our community. We also want peace in our family. Sometimes around the holidays in particular, peace in the family is a quality that's hard to find sometimes. But often peace is hoped for, but not really expected. Mm-hmm. I mean, we kind of know we live in a world where we would love to see peace in our world, but we have our expectations of that actually happening are pretty low, just because of our experiences that we have. So the word peace is, as you said, comes from a Hebrew word, shalom.
Shalom.
Which is a really, really cool word. And this word is used within Hebrew-speaking communities even today. So when you greet someone, you say shalom. When you say goodbye to someone, you say shalom. And so this is a way of speaking peace into someone's life. But even when the word shalom is spoken, there's uncertainty that peace is actually going to occur. We're hopeful for peace, but not real expect it. Mm-hmm. So even when the word is used. So when we think about peace, we often think about peace as the opposite, the absence of conflict.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
But the word shalom means so much more than the absence of conflict. It signifies a state of well-being, of tranquility, prosperity, not necessarily financial prosperity, but prosperity and security. It's really a blessing and a demonstration of divine grace, often heard in the phrase, peace be with you, right, is a phrase that's often used. So the biblical understanding of shalom is found in who God is. God is peace, or God is shalom. It is not something he gives, it's his character, it's who he is.
Yes.
And so I love what it says in John 14:27. Jesus is trying to give words of peace to his disciples, and he says this: "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And so as I was thinking about this, I was thinking the Prince of Peace, the Prince of Shalom, that was born in a manger and lived a life of shalom, desires to overwhelm us with his lavish love and grace so that we too can live in shalom. Mm. And so it's not based on our circumstances, it's based on who God is. So I'm interested in your reflections as you hear that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when we think about peace, we think, okay, how can I live at peace? Focusing on our own selves. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying and what I'm reminding my own soul today even is that it doesn't depend on us.
No, it doesn't.
It depends on God. It, as you said, it is who he is. And so when we humble ourselves, we pause to be with him and to be in his presence, we can and we will experience shalom.
Yeah.
His peace.
And I think that's the key, being in his presence, because he is shalom.
Yes.
He doesn't just give it, but he is it. And so if we want peace in our lives, it's about spending time with the Savior.
Yes.
And I don't know any other way around it. And I don't think there is any other way around it. And I think that's intentional. And so the peace that we look for in our world is based on our circumstances. The peace that we receive from God because of who God is circumvents our circumstances.
Yes.
And so we can have some struggles and some chaos in our lives and still be receiving shalom from God.
That's right. And that shalom is such a deep reminder and a picture of things not being as it completely should be yet, but God taking the broken pieces and rebuilding them together. And so, and I also love to think about that time spent with the Lord, kind of giving, here, Lord, here are the chaotic pieces of my life, or of a situation, a circumstance, or someone that you're praying for, whatever it might be, and you give that to him, and he is able to start pulling that together, piecing it back together the way that it's designed to be, but it's in his timing, right?
Yeah, and he's not thinking, "Oh, here I go again, receiving their brokenness." Mm-hmm. In fact, it's just the opposite. He keeps saying to us, "Give me your brokenness,
yes,
so that I can restore it and make it whole and redeem your life and give you this shalom."
Yes.
So, I think around Christmas time, here we are, just a few days out, and Christmas is a mixed bag for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. They're excited about it. They're giving presents. There's loneliness. There's sorrow over people that have been lost this year or in years past that we're closely connected to. And we're crying for peace in our lives. And if we're just relying on the circumstances the circumstances of our lives to bring that peace, it's not going to happen.
That's right.
That's only going to happen when we are connected to the Savior.
Right. Because peace never depends on us. It is truly spending time with him and his character, our Prince of Peace. So I'm interested, Leon, as we wrap up this Advent season together, how have I experienced God's peace in our lives, in our families, in circumstances around us this year? I thought it might be just nice to take some time and share what we've seen the Lord do with his shalom.
Yeah. So for me, it's really been a real sense of God's presence when times were not always easy. So there have been a few times throughout the year where things have gotten kind of hard. Mm-hmm. And it would be real easy to feel sorry for yourself, feel like there's no hope. And in those moments, I really felt like God's presence has brought that kind of peace. And again, it's connecting back to God, right?
Yeah.
So in the midst of the circumstances that were difficult, God's peace was evident. And oftentimes, that's all you need.
It's so true.
And I think maybe I want to say it a different way. Maybe it is all that we need. Mm-hmm. Of course, we want other kinds of peace to go along with it, of course, our circumstances. But when it comes right down to it, what we need and who we need is Christ.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Amen. I think in my life specifically this year, Leon, it has been a wonderful year. There's been so many amazing things God has done in and through this year for me personally, and also being a part of the Center for Faith and Family. God's done so much this year. But I also think it has been a year of waiting. It's been a year of trusting him in the midst of waiting for something that's to come. And one of those things I've shared early on in this season is my husband, Jamin, and I are in an adoption process. And so we're continuing to wait, continuing to be faithful to see the Lord build our family in this way. And I kind of feel like this Christmas, I've gotten closer to the presence of the Lord and to that peace, because many times, especially in an adoption process, you aren't in control of a lot of things. You can do everything you could do on the side of paperwork, but as far as everything coming together at the time that God wants it to, you have to trust, you have to let go and rest in his peace, in his shalom. And so that is really how I've experienced his peace, to be with me, to be with us as we wait for his guidance and for his timing in this adoption. And I also really sense that his timing is perfect. This Advent season, I've just been reminded again and again of the divine timing that the Lord brings in sending Jesus to the earth, in speaking with Mary, of just bringing everything to completion at the right time. And I would say that my life is a testimony of that right now, just trusting his timing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It is hard to wait.
It is.
It's hard to wait. I think, you mentioned, the waiting of the coming Messiah, the God's timing for sending him as a baby. And I think of all the many, many, many generations of the Hebrew people from the Old Testament who waited and waited and waited. And many of them, well, the majority of them, if not all of them, did not see that come to fruition during their lifetime.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, waiting is hard, when especially in a situation with adoption where you're relying on so many other people and the timing of those things. So that's awesome that you're sensing peace in the midst of that.
Yes, for sure. I think it is the Lord's shalom that's keeping us in the waiting, keeping us and protecting us and helping us to, even on the days that are tough, to remember that the Lord's with us and his timing is always right.
That's really good. I was thinking earlier today that when we resume after the first of the year, our podcast, we need to get an update from you on where things are, because we're hoping that some things might clarify themselves over the Christmas
I
season?
think so. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for as well. So
Great.
Hopefully at the new year, we will have some good news to share.
Yeah. So maybe you've kind of already answered this question. So peace is one of those 4 Advent candles that we've talked about, right?
Yes.
We just talked about that a little bit, but hope is another one of those. So what is giving you hope in this Christmas season?
Ooh, what is giving me hope? What's giving me hope is just the goodness of God. His faithfulness to be, bringing up the Advent wreath. An Advent wreath is in the shape of a circle, and it reminds us that the Lord's love never ends, and he never ends. He is the same today as he was in the moment he sent Jesus to the world, as he was when he created the world.
Right.
And I think his faithfulness, his trustworthiness, the goodness of his character through generations and to our moment in time right now is something that just gives me hope, especially when you're in a season of waiting like we are, specifically in our adoption. I keep coming back to that, but that is definitely at the forefront of our hearts. And so I find so much hope in that, knowing that the Lord is the same as he was yesterday, today, and forever, and that he is faithful then, and he will be faithful now, and we can continue to trust him, and that his timing is always perfect, and that, circumstances may not always bring us to a happily ever after, but we can always, with Jesus, have a hopeful ever after because he is our hope. And so, without getting into a sermon here, Leon, that is what rises to my heart, because I feel that I don't know how people walk through life without the hope of Jesus.
Yeah. So for me, I've got some family members who are seeking, I think, a relationship with Jesus. And we've been given, those of us who are followers, have been given glimpses of significant moments, things that God's doing that gives us hope that maybe 2025 is going to be the time where they make the decision to finally follow Jesus. So, so that's what's on my hope radar right now.
Yeah.
Is
I love that. The hope radar
is family members who, just getting glimpses of God's activity, coincidences that aren't so coincident. I don't know if I said that well.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, excited about that.
That is exciting. Yeah. Well, to all of our listeners, our prayer is that our hope and prayer for you is that you would sense the hope of Jesus in your life, that you would see glimpses, as Leon shared, of hope this Christmas. And even if your circumstances don't feel happy, don't feel very peaceful, that you would just rest in the shalom of our God and know that he sent us the greatest hope of all, Jesus. And so it's been wonderful to share in this series together, hasn't it, Leon?
Yes, it's been fun.
Yes.
And, both of us love Advent, love the season, not just the day.
That's right. Yes.
There's such a great, wonderful build-up. And we both work with kids. Mm-hmm. And one of the wonderful things about working with kids is once Thanksgiving is over, they're focused on Christmas. And so going through the different anticipation and preparation and waiting and all of those themes that are a part of the Christmas season are a lot of fun when you get to do those with kids, and they bring such a unique, authentic, raw perspective to the experience.
Yeah, it really is a gift every Advent season to experience it with children. So our prayer is that you would experience that in your own family life. And we want to wrap up this episode with our final reading of a children's book. You know that the last few episodes we've read different children's books that go with our theme, and tonight's is "'Twas the Evening of Christmas," and it is written by Glenys Nellist. And I love this storybook, Leon, because it takes on kind of that poetic nature of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." But instead of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," it's called "'Twas the Evening of Christmas," telling the story of Jesus. So,
and this will be on our website, right?
It will.
As a resource.
Yes, it will be on our website, centerff.com. So I'm going to read now "'Twas the Evening of Christmas," written by Glenys Nellist. "'Twas the evening of Christmas when all through the town every inn was so crowded, no room could be found. Tired Mary and Joseph, who went door to door, at last found a place on a small stable floor. "Thank goodness," said Mary, who tiptoed inside. The mice saw the donkey and scurried to hide. The rest of the creatures all cuddled up tight in hopes that they might have a calm, peaceful night. The pigeons were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of breadcrumbs danced round in their heads. The cows closed their eyes and the oxen laid down. The doves cooed so gently, the lambs made no sound. The moon through the trees was just starting to glow, with a glimmer of light on the stable below, when quite by surprise came a newborn babe's cry that woke all the animals sleeping nearby. Up jumped the cows and the oxen and sheep. Up popped the pigeons, aroused from their sleep. They all came to gaze at the small baby boy as his mama and papa hugged him with joy. Now donkeys, now cows, now pigeons and sheep, now oxen and mice in the manger did peep. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples so sweet, as they nuzzled his fingers and cute little feet. And out in the fields taking care of their sheep, some shepherds were just getting ready to sleep, when all of a sudden they had such a fright, as a whole choir of angels lit up the night. But the song of the angels, the words that they said, soon let the men know they had nothing to dread. Dear shepherds, it's wonderful news that we bring. A Savior is born. He is Jesus, the King. They ran to the stable and peeked through the door and saw something never imagined before. There in a manger, a baby boy lay. No blankets, no pillow, his bed made of hay. And to that small stable came 3 splendid kings with gifts for the baby, all beautiful things. They jumped from their camels and knelt at his feet with their frankincense, gold, and myrrh that smelled sweet. The stable was filled with a wonderful light, as stars above Bethlehem twinkled so bright. And high in the heavens God whispered, "My son, you'll bring hope to the world and love everyone." Then back to their slumbers the animals curled. amazed at this babe who had entered their world. As Mary and Joseph got ready for bed, they snuggled their baby and kissed his sweet head. As Mary laid Jesus asleep in the hay, she thought about all that had happened that day. The mice heard her whisper as she tucked him in tight, "Merry Christmas, my son, and to all a good night."
Well, thank you for that, and for all of the stories you've read us during the Advent season. It's really an amazing thing that this is the way God chose to show his love for the world. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing thing.
It is.
Well, this kind of wraps up our season, kind of.
We
have one special treat for next week, don't we?
Yes, a special
So should we give
episode.
them a teaser?
I think so, Leon.
Okay, so many of you have heard me talk about my trips to Tanzania, and one of the leaders of that trip is a Kenyan who actually came for a visit.
Yes,
Baraza.
Yeah.
And so next week, we will be hearing from him and about the work that he's doing as a missionary now in Zambia.
Yes, you don't want to miss that episode.
No,
it was a
really
wonderful
great
conversation.
And then we're going to take a little bit of a break for the month of January.
Yes.
And we will be back on the first Sunday of February.
That's right.
And so from us, from the Faith Together podcast, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and this final blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he turn his face toward you and give you shalom. You've been listening to the Faith Together podcast from the Center for Faith and Family at Olivet Nazarene University. Sign up for additional resources at centerff.com. When building faith, we are better together.